Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Wellness Wednesday. It's that time again. I hope everyone has had a wonderful day. I'm Mia James. I'm your financial wellness coach, and we are in the home stretch. We're actually wrapping up the book, Would the Rockefellers Do by Garrett Gunderson, I believe is his name. And I'm just looking to see how many more chapters we have. I have looked at it every day and I still cannot seem to remember because I'm reading so many different books. So hang on, let me go to that book. I know we still have chapter 12 left for sure. Tonight is chapter 11. And then we have chapter 12 and chapter 13, and then the conclusion. So maybe about 3 weeks. So we're gonna wrap this up in June. And then I have a special hey Errol. Yeah, Errol is one of my favorite options mentors. So give it up for Errol in the chat. You should definitely get with him if you want to learn options. It will definitely change your life. Hey Jen, hey girl, hey. Good to have you both on, to my favorite people. So if y'all already have some questions in the chat, then let me know. Um, because I want to make sure that you get out of these sessions exactly what you need. That's really important to me. So we're gonna jump in. Let me move the book over to this screen. Today we're talking about chapter 11, maximize your financial efficiency and earning potential. So, okay, it was live in 1 hour. Oh, okay. Oh dear. So, um, funny, I have I'm going through a transition right now in my business. So my niece is taking over for my previous operations manager. And so she's doing her summer internship. And so it may have the time may have been a little off with the time zones. So that's probably what happened. So thank you, Jen, for staying on. Hopefully, um, I'm sure people are gonna blow up my phone, my text messages saying, I got the text and it said blah blah blah. I'm like, oh Lord, have mercy. But you know what? It's life, right? There's gonna be a replay, even if they come back an hour later. But you know, we're gonna be at book club. Well, I don't know if I can go to book club today because I need to study. I have a lot of study I need to catch up on. All right, so let's get going, y'all. We're talking about maximizing your financial efficiency and earning potential. So he says, so I'm in the Kindle book. He says, when it comes to capturing your wealth, what do you think is more important? Paying off loans, reducing expenses, or earning a higher rate of return? So let me know in the chat, what do y'all think? Would you say it's paying off loans, reducing expenses, or earning a higher rate of return? Thank you, Jen. Yes, she's doing a great job. Hey, Faith, welcome. Great to have you here today. So what would y'all say? What's in terms of recapturing your wealth, what would you say is the most important? Paying off your loans, reducing expenses, or earning a higher rate of return? So he talks about Todd Langford and he has this calculator on maximizing potential. He says when you calculate your maximum potential, it becomes easy to see the benefits of saving money without painful budgeting. Because I actually don't use budgeting. I have a spending plan because as Errol has taught us all here, I'm pretty sure, we are the CEOs of our money. So we tell our money what to do and where to go. Okay. So that's real. I just have a plan for every dollar. That's how I look at it. I don't use budgeting, believe it or not. He says the key is recovering cash rather than seeking a higher rate of return. So in the chat, yes, Janice, thank you. Yes, it's all about the ROI. Exactly. So we got Jen says paying off, so paying off loans for Jen. Errol says the higher rate of return, and Janice says the higher rate of return. So let's keep reading and see what he says. So, based on this maximum potential, he says your full earning potential is reduced over time by eroding factors such as taxes, debt service, inflation, and lifestyle expenses, right? Um, yes, thank you for sharing, Jen. I appreciate it because when you share, more people come. Everyone loves our Jen. All right. So he actually then goes on to break down what what does this look like with your numbers, right? Essentially we obviously we want to reduce taxes, right? We want to reduce debt because debt, well, bad debt, right? Any kind of consumer debt that's costing us money. Now, I'm a firm believer if you need to use debt to make money, right? But you got to know what you're doing. Then but any other debt that's not making us money, we want to get rid of that. Obviously, we want our money to outpace inflation and we don't want to have lifestyle creep. He says if you could save $5,000 a year in tax, another 5,000 in interest, and another 5,000 in hidden fees. So this is like admin fees, legal fees, 12B1 fees or commissions, or even poor insurance designs that lead to coverage that you don't need, that can actually put more money into your pocket. So that can give you a larger capital base by reducing some of these fees. So let me know in the chat, what would y'all do if you had an extra $15,000 a year in cash flow? What would you do with it? I'm just curious. Let me know in the chat. Okay, pay off. Yes, exactly. It does increase your credit score too. Yes, Jen. So that's why Jen said pay off, because when you pay these things off, that increases your cash flow, right? As long as you don't go back into a cycle. So what he does is he breaks down an example where you analyze this over a 30-year period. Um, so let's just say, let's pretend like we all went back to our 20s, okay? Anybody want to go back to your 20s? I want to go back to my 20s knowing what I know now, but I wouldn't want to go back to my 20s doing what I did then. Or having some type of mentor to walk me through life. So he says, pretend like you don't have any assets, you don't have a 401k, you don't have any money set aside, right? Okay, so I like this. See, I like this audience participation today. Hey, Dwayne, welcome. Okay, so if Dwayne had an extra 15K, that's what I would do too, Jen. I'd be like, Errol, what you doing with your money? So, okay. So Dwayne says invest. Errol says reinvest. Everybody says invest. Exactly. Very good. Very good. I love it. Okay. So let's say we're starting over. We don't have any assets, no 401ks, no money set aside. Right now, if y'all could guess, what is your greatest asset? So you don't have any of those things. What would you say is your greatest asset in your 20s and you're working? Let me see who can guess it. I love Jenna's trying to get some arrow wisdom over here in the chat. And this why y'all gotta come live, because the chat, you learn some stuff in the chat too. So that's why I encourage everyone to come live as often as you can. So what is our greatest asset if we don't have any other assets? Can anybody guess in the chat before I give you the answer? If you have the book, you already know the answer. Let's see. Okay, so Janice says time. Okay, Jen says children. Dwayne says time. Okay, let me see if anybody else is gonna guess what he says in the book. Well, I don't know what that means, Jen. The best ticker is you. I love it, Errol. Yes, invest in yourself. Okay, let me tell you what the book says, right? So Faith says health. Yep, in some cases that's true. He says your greatest asset at that point, right? Let's say you're 20 years old, no assets, is your earning power and potential, right? Because in order to get some assets, we need some capital, right? Yes, invest in you, Jen. Exactly. Invest in you. Warren Buffett even says that your greatest investment is in you. Yes, but time, yes, you do have time because you can have time to build assets. However, you need capital, right? So he says your earning potential and earning power and potential is your greatest asset at that point. Okay. We may all differ in opinion, but this for illustration purposes, we'll go with it. He says, suppose your income is 100K a year, right? That means over the next 30 years, you have a $3 million cash flow. And this is obviously, we know this is not true because this is assuming you don't have any increases in your income and no earnings on that investment, right? So this is just straight math, right? No compounding. He says, but now we're going to say that you can increase your earnings over time by 5% a year. So if you add that extra 5% a year to the 100,000, so over the next 30 years, your $3 million cash flow becomes 6.6 million a year. All right, everybody following me so far? You need to dust it off. I love it. Um, all right. So he says basically, if you just work and you don't do anything with your money, it's just like keeping it under the mattress, right? So now he says, assume that you've used, okay, so I know all of us in here are investors. All right. So this book is specifically explaining to you how to utilize cash value life insurance to fund your um, trust and basically create tax-free income. Okay. So go with the example here. Yeah, don't you love that math, Jen? It's great. It's just straightforward, right? They didn't even talk about bills or nothing like that, right? But this is true. Your over your lifetime, you will have had millions run through your fingers. It's definitely true. Now, we got to talk about taxes, right? We're getting there in a minute, and all the other things, interest and stuff, and inflation that we pay money on. So there's that. So he said, now let's assume that you've learned some optimally funded whole life insurance principles and can make a better return on your money than you would by stashing it under your mattress. So I always ask new clients, I always say, where are you on the spectrum when it comes to risk, right? Are you under the mattress type of person, or are you put it all on red? Or are you somewhere in the middle? And then we go from there, right? And so I try to like break the ice a little bit and have a little fun with it. But I have some people, they're just like, yeah, I'm closer to the mattress. I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about that too. So anyway, he said, let's assume that you're earning 5% interest on your money. Okay, so now you may be putting in a high yield savings account. Even though it's not 5% right now. Okay, so just go with me here. I'm improvising on what he's saying in the book. He says now your total income over 30 years increases to a whopping 12.9 million, right? So this becomes your new earning potential. You like that math, right, Jen? Exactly, Jen. They left out the IRS. They left out we got a mortgage, we got a loan interest. They left out so many things, okay? But we're going to get there in a minute. He was so Then he says these are the things that are now you had that nice earning potential. Everybody likes that 12.9 million, right? We all like that. But Jim got to a very perfect point. You're not gonna see that full 12.9 million in that sense, right? We know we can possibly see it because we know other strategies. But if you're just like, I don't really know what to do with money, I'm just kind of putting it in a savings account, getting 5% a year. You're not going to see the full 12.9 because Uncle Sam's coming for his, right? And you may buy some cars or homes and things of that nature. And you're going to be paying if you don't interest if you don't pay cash outright. So these are the three main things that erode our income: taxes, loan interest, and our lifestyles. Okay. So you all here are advanced. I know everybody in here. So yes. Oh, Dwayne has a good point too. The crucial part is that it takes time to make and earn that money, right? So you're not getting, well, unless you Elon Musk or something, or maybe some of y'all have. I don't want to make an assumption that 12.9 million up front. I don't know. Anybody here got 12.9 million up front? Let me know because I want to know what you do and how you did it, okay? Um, so let's talk about taxes. So he says a conservative estimate puts the amount of income that goes to taxes each year at 40 cents of every dollar. Now that's kind of high, y'all, because 40% income tax is really high. But I'm going to say that he's probably not only including income tax, but he's probably also including sales tax because 40% is really high. Um, so anywho, let's just say we calculate 40% of your income going to taxes over a 30-year period. So now your 12.9, Jen, because I know you like this math, is going down to 7.8. That's just after taxes. And this is for people who don't have tax strategies in place. This is just the everyday person, right? So, yes, Faith and Arrow have 12 million. Look, they like don't put their business out there like that, Dwayne. No, just they're like, we don't want people to know we got that kind of money. All right. As y'all can see, I believe finance is fun. So I like to laugh and joke, but this is definitely a serious matter. So the next thing, so that's just taxes alone, right? We have all kind of taxes. Like right now I'm studying for my securities license and I'm reading about bonds and municipal bonds. I'm a stock girl, so I'm like, okay, with the bonds. And all of these different ways, ordinary income tax, not tax, blah, blah, blah. And they were talking about how municipalities get taxes, right? And or earn revenue, I should say. And it's through all these taxes, like our property taxes, like excise taxes. Um, it's just a whole bunch of different kind of taxes. How and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And people probably don't even think about it. They just pay it and move on. So the third area that erodes our money is loan interest. And a lot of us have it, right? Because if you're, I mean, unless our $12 million friends over here paying for houses and cars outright. I mean, I know my dad used to pay for cars outright when I was growing up. Like that was definitely, he was all about um paying cash for cars because them being depreciating assets. But some people, they like newer cars, so they go ahead and get the car loan. Or you get a mortgage, right? Because you may not be dropping half a mil on a house. Like you may not just have that in the bank account. Or credit cards or student loans or business loans. And I know Dr. Boyce talks about this all the time, especially in the African American community, how student loans just, kind of put us behind. It's easier to get a student loan than a business loan for some of us, right? So, exactly. There we go, Dwayne. Mortgage and credit cards, right? Because I mean, I don't know about y'all. Like, maybe it was just me, but I remember being on Bruin Walk. Jen knows what I'm talking about. And they had, okay, first of all, everything in the bookstore is mad expensive, y'all, at the university, right? And you're just trying to buy your books that cost $100, all the things. And then, a t-shirt is like $40, and you're like, oh, but I can get a free t-shirt if I sign up for this credit card. Yeah, why not? So anyway, that's that. I have definitely been caught with the free stuff, getting a credit card because I had no clue. And my parents didn't use credit cards. So of course they never taught me about it because they didn't even use them. So anyway, moving on. Any money that goes towards loan interest is money leaving your pocket. He says that Americans put an estimated average of 35% of their income towards loans. So I'd be curious, have any of you actually calculated how much of your income actually goes towards loans, like or loan interest? Um, I personally haven't, but that's something that I think I'm gonna do. Just thinking about mortgage and all that stuff. Like how much of my money is going towards loan interest and can I reduce that, right? So if 35% of most Americans' income is going towards loans, he's now saying that we had that 7.8 million, right? So we went from 12, I think 12.9, then we got taxes, we went down to 7.8, and now that 35% reduces the money to 2.9 million. Jen, I know you don't like that. I know you don't like that math. So we went from 12 to 2. We got $10 million in taxes and loan interest. That's terrible. But that's not us on over here, right? But just in case y'all need to share this information with somebody. So he said we've already dropped your earning potential by 9.7 million just by paying taxes and loans. And we haven't even talked about lifestyle. So now with the lifestyle expenses, he said most Americans average about 23.5% of their income on lifestyle cost. So over 30 years, when you subtract the lifestyle cost, now your money has sunk down to $216,097. Now, y'all tell me this. I'm all about work optional living, which means that I don't work because I have to, I work because I want to. That is my goal. So, and that's what I try to help my clients to do as well, if that's their goal. So he says you didn't pay taxes, you didn't pay interest, and you didn't live. Okay. You got $216,000 and 90 $216,097 left. That's not us in here, thank God, because we have ways to make money, but that is some people's reality. And he says, how is someone used to $100,000 annually going to survive on a total of less than $200,000 in savings if they stop working? So this speaks to the retirement crisis that we have in our country, right? Because at no point in here, he hasn't talked about anyone setting up a 401k or cash value life insurance or anything of that nature. And he says most fee-based planners will tell you that the solution is to focus on increasing your rate of return. However, this can be very risky because it can mean a higher chance of losing. So that really depends again on your risk tolerance and if you know what you're doing. So he talks about keeping more money in your pocket. Okay, so we're almost done. Actually, this was a pretty short chapter. Okay, let's see what we got in here. He said, Dwayne said, free pizza and t-shirts for a credit card. Listen, if I could go back and tell kids and warn them, I totally would. Okay. Yes. Think, believe, and receive. I'm here for it. Loan interest. I was like, I'm not making a dent in my. Yes, it's crazy, right? Like a lot, especially if you have interest only payments. That is really you won't see the principal move. And I know a lot of people struggle with that when they're trying to pay off credit cards and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm paying every month, but I'm not seeing the balance go down." Because a majority of the payment is going to go towards interest. They're going to make their money. They're not worried about you making your money or being well off financially. So that's when you have to be proactive and you can actually say, well, depending on how your loan is set up, like, hey, I want to have X amount go towards my principal, or you can pay a little extra, which is what we do. Okay. So I gotta wrap up because I can just talk all day about this wonderful stuff. He said, let's talk about keeping more money in your pocket. Anybody want to keep more money in their pocket besides me? I know I do. So just like y'all said in the chat, we want to focus on reducing taxes and loans. Obviously, any lifestyle creep that's not, you know, necessary. But anyway, we like to have fun, but we also like to make sure we're responsible. He says, let's isolate taxes and loans and go back to the 5% earnings rate, which brings your total after 30 years to $216,097. He said, if you use cash value life insurance and some basic tax strategies, you can decrease your tax burden by 10%, meaning 10% of the 40%. So 4% total. So now you're paying taxes of 36%. Okay. So let me think about how to say that. Well, you guys know math. You guys understand that. Okay, which is why paying off remains my answer. So it really does depend, Jen. Yep. Yes, thank you, Dwayne. Dwayne said he don't Dwayne and I are the only people who want to keep more money in our pocket. Nobody else in the chat. I know y'all probably multitasking. It's all good. Um, then he says, you want to reduce your loan payments from 35% to 20%. Now that was talked about in the previous chapter. So I would recommend it's a very elaborate strategy. I did not get to go into it because it's very involved. You probably want to read it and digest it. But if you do have questions about it, feel free to reach out to me. Y'all all know how to reach me. Um, but it is a strategy that you use. You can use your cash value actually in your life insurance to pay off things. So, for example, you can take loans or you can take withdrawals if you have the cash available. So, that's a way where you can reduce your interest payments by just going ahead and paying off some stuff using your cash value. So, here's the point the point of this chapter is if you have cash value life insurance, you can leverage it, right, to reduce taxes and to reduce loan interest payments. And you can be your own bank and borrow from yourself versus having to keep borrowing from other sources, right? And pay yourself back that interest. So I had a client, we actually ended up doing a review and she was about to go take out money from the bank for her business. And then she was like, wait a minute, I have access to this money in my life insurance policy. I was like, yeah. She was like, I don't have to wait to use it. I was like, yeah, no, you can use it now. She was like, oh my gosh, you just like solved a problem for me. I said, I didn't do anything. I just let you know that it was available to you. And so I'm just saying that this is a way for you to be your own bank without having to pay taxes. Because even though all of us here are investors, right? Say we sell off some stock to purchase something, right? If we had a capital gain, we got to pay capital gains taxes unless we have a loss to offset it. So, but if you take it out of your cash value life insurance, you don't have to worry about taxes at all. You just, you either pay yourself back if you choose to, or if you don't choose to pay yourself back and you take a withdrawal, then it's not taxed to you at all. It's earned income at all because you already put in after tax money. You just take the money and go, but just with the understanding that it decreases your death benefit. So I did a lot of talking. Does anybody have any questions about that? So his point is, he says, focus on leverage, efficiency, and utilization of your money and decreasing eroding factors, which is taxes, interest costs, and unnecessary lifestyle expenses, right? That are kind of energetic leaks to your money, and invest in yourself. And so, if there's a way you can use your cash value life insurance to free up some of your money that's, going out, like the interest payments, like I was saying before, um, that is a way you can leverage it and have it work for you even while you're living. Okay, so only me, Faith, and Dwayne want to keep more of our money. Okay, so everyone else, they're like, no, no, thanks. Okay. So no questions. Anybody have any questions? I know I always go pretty fast, but y'all are real smart, so I'm not too worried about it. Or any thoughts, right? Anybody like, I don't agree with this. I think something completely different. I'm just curious to know if anyone has any differing opinions. Or does anyone use cash value life insurance? Ooh, Dwayne. Yes. Love that response. So Dwayne says it may be wise to invest the insurance money and use profits to add back to the policy. Come on, Dwayne. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's say you're trying to build up your capital base. So I don't know if Errol is still on, but I think he would agree with that. Right, because he did a class a while back on how to build your capital base. And so if you have some tax-free money in your insurance policy, use it. So, we are wrapped up for today. So if you do not have cash value life insurance or know someone who would like to purchase some cash value life insurance or learn how to use what they have, I put my link in the chat, which is beyondthebusyness.com. Busyness is BUSYNESS. You can schedule a complimentary consultation. I do insurance reviews. I do um, cash value life insurance setup. I do term as well, and guaranteed retirement income planning. So yeah, that is it for today. So next week we'll be on chapter 12. We'll be wrapping this book up by the end of June, and then I'm gonna be doing a special the first week of July before we go into July 4th holiday. All right, y'all. Well, thanks for coming. It was so great to see so many familiar names in the chat. It makes my heart so warm because y'all are my smart investing family. And but I want to make sure we're protected all the way around because I always talk about having your financial house in order. And at the bottom of your financial house, you want to have your protection, which is your insurance and your estate planning. And then you want to build from there. And it's not that you have to do one or the other. You can build simultaneously, but you want to do it strategically. Oh, Dwayne, that makes me feel so great. Oh, thank you, Dwayne, because you're always teaching me and I learn so much from you. So it's such a blessing to be able to share as well in something that I'm so passionate about. Because the last thing I'll say is if you don't know my story, my grandfather, he was like super financially savvy. He had his funeral paid for before he passed away. He had long-term care in place. So when he got ill, or and passed away, none of his children had to come out of pocket for anything because he was so well set up. So I just want that for every family. And I know we can do it. Obviously, we're building our wealth, but as we're building, we want to protect it. So that's so important to me. All right, y'all, have a good night, and I'll see some of y'all in book club. Good night.